But for that reason, I would not be in favor of this at this time.
Well, I'm interested.
Yes.
I am not going to sign it, but I accept that I regret the policy, but I will not sign my policy.
Well, I don't think there's a requirement that you sign off on it. I think that the way it reads, it says that you have accepted and read the policy. That you have, I'm sorry, that you have received the document and read the policy.
It also says that I will be signed, and I will not sign it.
Well, okay. I mean, it's your choice. And I think we'll probably just go forward and seek further legal counsel on this before we maybe can move on it. But until that's taken care of, it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be in the county's interest to add inventory.
It would appear that there's a conflict on this. We need to set that up as an agenda item for another discussion.
I agree.
Either on the commissioner's court or workshop or whatever the judge needs to.
So we're allowing the officers to drive cars 109,000 miles on.
There's a lot, there's a lot of cars that don't have 190,000 miles, and certainly the cars that have lesser mileage could be assigned to people who drive more miles and reserve the old cars for use by the jail or something like that. I mean, that's a management issue for the department. That's not really our responsibility. Sure.
It's my responsibility.
Do you want to address that, Sheriff?
Well, that was basically the judge saying, if you don't sign the policy, I'm not giving you the car.
So who is this judge?
Judge Mary Cunningham.
Mary Cunningham. And when does she come up for election?
She has no intention of running, she said.
She has another 3 years.
Another 3 years.
But Commissioner Wilson was the one standing there taking up for us and basically saying, you mean you're not going to give the vehicles to them because the sheriff will not sign your policy. So basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's you either do what I say or you're not going to get anything.
So was this Judge Cunningham the one that instigated this policy?
Yes.
What was her motivation, just control, or what brought it on? What did she know? She knew she was in for a fight. What was her?
Go ahead, Les used to be an employee of mine. He was environmental and he's also a police officer and a dang good one.
Thank you. I'm not under the same code as Judge Floyd up there. Now that I'm retired, I can pretty much say what I want to say. And that's the reason I came tonight. The commissioners, this is just a small, and I'm telling the people here in Kingsland, this is just a small percentage of what our commissioners have been doing, not just in this meeting, but in previous meetings. The same thing, the people of Kingsland have signed a petition not to have JP3 moved to Buchanan. Ron Wilson also voted to keep it here in the Kingsland area to service the people. Our commissioners previous to the present commissioners, with the exception of Ron Wilson, has spent years building up our county to serve the people of this county. And I'm going to say it, in the last 2 years, the present commissioner's court that we have right now is destroying everything that has been built from the past and doing it without any forethought and without total disregard to whatever the people of Llano County believe or want. They say it's in the name of saving the taxpayers' money, but yet they increased the budget this year from last year's budget. They took out jobs to reallocate jobs elsewhere, what I consider important jobs, clerks from the JPs, okay, and then they're adding investigators to the district attorney's office, the county attorney's office. It's all good and dandy, but What they're doing is they're telling the people one thing, and they're using smoke and mirrors to try to convince the people of Llano that they're doing right. They have members of the Republican Tea Party who are standing up and saying good jobs and applauding these commissioners in open debates where there's people that are trying to fight against their decisions and what they're trying to do. And it's all set up, in my opinion. And I'm entitled to my opinion like everyone here in this room. It's time for it to stop. These commissioners need to be voted out of office, in my opinion. We need new commissioners, somebody who's for the people of Llano County. So the stuff like this for the cars, for the sheriff's office, when I was a deputy, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I told my wife, I had 176,000 miles in my car. I said if I get in a pursuit and I crash, and you can find out that that vehicle had a ball joint go out or anything, to sue the heck out of Llano County. They are putting Llano County at risk for lawsuits. They have given out misinformation, and then when people have gathered the right information and went in to try to tell them politically polite, they were shut down. They were basically told to shut up and sit down or be removed from the meeting. That is terrorism, in my opinion. That's harassing the people of Llano who are trying to put forth the right information because they got the wrong information. Judge Cunningham put it in the paper, that information, and they could dispute a lot of that information to show that it was incorrect information given to the public. And the Republican Tea Party members, certain members, not all of them, but certain of those members stood up and applauded the Commissioner's Court for doing the right thing. I leave it to you guys to judge who's right and who's wrong. But I'm telling you that it can be proven that what they were doing was wrong. They use, in my opinion, harassment, bullying tactics to get what they want, do what they want, and they're on a power movement right now where they feel like they can do anything regardless of what the citizens of Llano County think. A petition was signed for not to have JP3 moved. I don't remember how many signatures.
Almost
600 signatures, okay? People attended that Commissioner's Court meeting, and basically were just told, too bad. They just disregarded those people. That's a lot of signatures, 600. And they are the ones that decide for the entire county. That's the reason why I put my support behind Ron Wilson, okay? I'm in JP2, I can't even vote for the man. But I'll do everything in my power to get him back in office because he's the only one that has stood up and fought against the other commissioners in this matter. And it's because of that, I feel they're out to get him out of office so that they can get somebody in there that votes with them and they have even more power. I was the code enforcement officer for about 2 years. I did like 500 cases here for Llano County. Out of those 500, there was probably 70 left unattended when I left, because it takes time to get this area cleaned up. And they took that position and moved it to the county court under the county judge or the county attorney's office. And in doing so, it took even another officer off the street. Because, I mean, even though I was a full-time code enforcement officer, I was still able to back up officers when they were short-handed, back up any officer that was out there that didn't have a backup. And that was taken away from the sheriff's department. I feel like there's a vendetta against the sheriff's department, and if they're doing this intentionally, and they found a way to do it and say it's legal. And I feel like that is not what Llano County's about, or the citizens here in Llano County. I've had nothing but support from the people in Llano County when I was a deputy. And most of the deputies here do have that support. And I just feel like it's time for change, and that's what I'm proposing. And just because you're just in JP3, the decision you make here affects the entire county. Thank you.
got anything you like to add?
Oh, I have a lot of things I'd like to say. I don't know where to start, really. I think, looking at the big picture, I see Julian and his wife here, and I've heard them speak about their coming from Romania under communism.
That's where we're going now.
That's what I think, the big picture. You know, you can take all the small things together and kind of like Bernie Sanders says, I'm a socialist. Okay, socialism, well, communism. I mean, those are strong words, I know, and we're just a small county and a small precinct, but it's the being dictated to by a small group of people who have that power. So, you know, as I always say, I grew up in Llano. I want Llano County to be a place where my grandkids can come and enjoy it like I did on the Llano River, for example. What little bit I can do to help promote
And preserve it.
what's that?
And preserve it.
Preserve what we have here. I want to, the word regime, this administration has mostly, to begin with, has created dissension amongst the county employees, all county employees, not just the sheriff's office or road and bridge, all county employees. And before that, and I'll say with Judge Braskin, who I think is a good man and did a good job. It's not an easy job, I understand that. But he tried to get everybody to work together, and I think that's one thing. And I asked for a workshop, and that tape will go on. I asked for a workshop on this policy 2 times, maybe 3 times. And that was 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything about a workshop yet. And the district attorney, Sonny McAfee, stood up and said, I will offer to act as a mediator if we can get together and try to work things out. Well, there's a lack of cooperation there. I'm not sure why, other than power. You keep using that word, I think that's true. Egos, I've seen that happen. People in their second term, and y'all see, I'm preaching to the choir, I know, but in this case, it's very obvious. And then I put I thought long and hard before I posted it because I'm not much of a Facebook fan, but on the Llano County Newswire a couple days ago about it's something that we're just going to have to deal with about our future in Llano County, and I don't know all the answers for sure, but I know that even if I lose the race, I'm not going away because this needs to be fixed somehow, and I'm not sure how we're going to do that. I mean, I met yesterday with HEB, for example. Some of you probably heard HEB's coming in. They're going to hopefully do a superstore. And there are some ramifications, I guess, to getting the plat through simply for HEB. There are some people in this administration who I feel are anti-development. I know they are. I don't know what else to say. Does anybody have any questions about, I'm sure you probably do, about, I could go on and on about what's going on. Obviously, I'm not happy. They know I'm not happy. The post in the, on Facebook, I'm sure I'll catch grief Monday. That's fine. I don't care. Well, I do care. But I want them to know that it's not just me being hard-nosed about things. It's common sense. Whatever happened to common sense? Politically correct should go out the window, in my opinion. So, any questions? Specific or non-specific?
Is there certain steps Superintendent Bailey?
I think first of all, I would invite everybody to come to Commissioners Court on Monday, or in the future on Monday, and sit in the back of the room and just watch and listen. And some of it is, I would even consider unprofessional conduct. To be impolite to the general public, the people that come in there are tax-paying citizens. Y'all are my boss. You are their boss. And to treat people with disrespect, like some of them do, there's no excuse for that. There are a lot of things like that that should not be happening, in my opinion. So, the first step, I think, is to come and see what we're talking about. I mean, a lot of people know it, they've heard it. Us that work for the county, or people who get involved, hear about it, they don't see it firsthand, but come to Commissioner's Court and see what's happening, see what's going on. Because obviously, we have a lot of power. I mean, it's on the move. We came in there with almost 600 signatures, trying to make them understand that my first point is that you're not, and it's all on tape, you're not serving the citizens of the most populated area in the county. Why would you move it? Other than some ego or political motivation of some kind? I don't know why. And it was as if we weren't even there. As I said in the article, I think it fell on deaf ears. So,
Okay, that's step one, to go to the Commissioner's Court. Step two, what are some of the things that we need to do?
vote.
Vote, well, yes. And, I feel like I've just been living in my own little world. This is the first time I've been to a forum like this. I kind of just go on and do my own business, and I go vote, find out who it is. I don't even know who our commissioners are.
Well,
I think the main thing is that if you get out and spread the word to your friends,
It-
co-workers and things like that, if you'll spread the word to them as to what's going on, what you've learned here tonight. Even go knock on doors if you feel
Handle
the
it
need
just like
to do
you would a
so.
revival. Pick up the phone and the phone book and start calling.
That's what they
People
are
you know.
here tonight, trying to.
well, let me just say real quick that, of course, I want to be reelected. Anybody who wants to walk the streets and put out some flyers, that's fine. But in the big picture, if I'm not reelected, like I think the sheriff said, and I'm pro law enforcement, I guess pro common sense, in my opinion, I am anyway. So if I'm defeated, it's going to get a lot worse. I mean, I'm only one vote, that's true, but at least I'm there to fight for you guys, you the people. I know this sounds like political stuff, but it's true. So, and on the, back at budget time, that's when I got kind of crosswise with them. I voted against the budget. Part of it was because of the cars. The sheriff asked for 5 cars. We gave them supposedly 3. We gave them one at that time with the appropriations to give them 2 more after January 1. There were no capital expenditures until after January 1 generally. So now he asked for it. Nope, not getting it. Okay, so on that budget, well, there were some other reasons I voted against it. They took our clerks away. They would not give this is all encompassing. They would not give the district attorney. He asked for 2 assistant district attorneys. They didn't give him any. Well, my point was that I paid for a sign, and I don't mind paying out of my pocket. That's fine. I paid for the sign there, $2,900, which my note is on there now, to please come and express your support against these things on the budget. Now, we had people come in and say, we'll come. Not one person. That's apathy, and that is a big problem. So you being here shows that you're getting the word, and that's good.
We've been at this for about an hour now. Why don't we take a little break and get something to drink or a snack or something, and we'll start back up in about 5 minutes or so.
Law enforcement is one of the most important things that we have is homeland security here in Llano County. It's these officers and these men and women that serve us here, and if we need protection, they're the ones that's gonna have to protect us. And to say it can't happen in Llano County is just wrong. It can happen in Llano County. And I promise you, and I guarantee you, that we have elements that are traveled through our county every day of the bad type. It could be either ISIS, it could be terrorists of some sort or some kind. But it's not out of the question that Llano County is a target. We got a dam that could be blown and kill thousands of people, okay? Our law enforcement is one of our most important assets that we can have in Llano County. And they have got figures, the Commissioners Court has put out figures that they have done, Judge Cunningham has done studies from all surrounding counties stating that we have done an extensive study of other counties, and we have our departments are too big. We need to downsize. Downsizing law enforcement is your safety. That's your security blanket. And that should never even be thought of as a subject to downsize. Okay, it's just incredible that they would even think of such a thing. And especially in our day and time and the way things are. So I'd like to have everybody think about that. Your safety lies right up there with the equipment and the officers that serve this county. And when you have a problem, they're the ones going to respond. And actually, the department needs to be bigger. They have to do Kingsland, Tao, all of Llano County. People cry out that they don't have law enforcement in their area because they want someone to patrol their streets. And I know it costs money and it does raise the budget. But to me, that would be something that the commissioners would think would be a top priority, for the safety of all the people in Kingsland. But they see fit to downplay it and give out figures that have been proven wrong. A lot of their figures have been proven wrong. Some are right, and some of their figures are correct. So when someone tries to tell them that what you said is wrong, they're silenced and they're ignored. And they are totally ran over, and they vote the way they want to vote anyway. I would like to hear from the sheriff or Lieutenant Evans. Just how much, because I know in the last 2 years that I've been here, I've seen more manhunts in Llano County than I've ever seen in my law enforcement career. I think in 2 months we had 3 or 4 right here in Llano County that I was a part of that manhunt, okay? And that's just to show you, the public, it is here. We do have those problems. You just don't ever hear them. So I would like to know if they can express some facts and figures of what we've faced in the last 2 years with the Llano County Sheriff's Office.
I can give you a few facts and figures. I wish I'd have brought my charts and stuff with me. I looked through my reports the other day, and I had to pull up the number of drug cases that we have filed in the last, just this term. So it's a little over 3 years. And we filed right at 490 drug cases in Llano County. And one thing that really shocked me is I went to the DA's office, and last fiscal year 2015, we filed 237 felony cases with the DA's office. Now, the DA's office is the same DA's office that serves Burnett County. And we know how big Burnett County is, and their sheriff's office is about 15 more people than we have. We filed 237. They filed 135. So we filed 235, they filed 137. We filed 98 more drug cases, 98 more felony cases in Burnett County. So we are busy here. The guys do work. We run drug raids as often as we can. What a lot of people don't understand, you can't just say, well, I know that guy over there had drugs. You can't just run over there and knock down his door. You have to work at it. It may take a month, it may take a month and a half working somebody to get it done. Go ahead, Ed.
Hey, Bill, real quick. I know we talked about this earlier. I asked you to bring some facts and figures to the table. You talk about Hardin County, you talk about this difference in your staff compared to their staff. Let's talk about salaries. I know we've talked about that, and after you explain it a bit, I want to make a comment about it.
Well, okay, our officers start off at 37.5. That's a year, 37.5. Burnett County this year is now at 42,000. They're going up an additional $6,000 next year. San Saba County, one of the lowest paid counties in the state. I mean, they're going to start them at 40,000 and they have overtime. Something that people need to understand. Llano County has no overtime policy. We don't get overtime. Burnett County gets overtime. San Saba County gets overtime. Mason County gets overtime. Gillespie County gets overtime. Gillespie County employees this last year got a raise of $100 a month plus 3%. Llano County employees got a 2% raise, period. We are a training area, that's what we are. We train dispatchers who make like $3 an hour less than they do in Vernon. And so when we get them trained, they go to Vernon. We train jailers, they go to Vernon. We train officers, they go to Vernon, or Fredericksburg, because they can make more money. These are people that have to make a living. Nearly every one of my officers has a part-time job. They do security somewhere. They go to Austin to do security, or they work for a security company on their days off. Or anything they can to pick up a few bucks. You know, and a lot of people, Judge Cunningham made the comment that, well, they knew this job wasn't going to pay very much. And, you know, yeah, we know the job doesn't pay very much. These guys are dedicated. And, no, we're not attorneys or anything like that. Well, actually, we are. We're a little bit of everything. We're guidance counselors. We're marriage counselors. We're babysitters for children. You know, when we have to arrest somebody and they have 4 or 5 kids in there, yeah, we have to take care of those kids. I went on a raid the other day, a little girl about 4 years old. And it was fairly early in the morning, and we went in, and this little girl was in there. And she was on the floor, balled up, and I picked her up, and I held her in my arms for about an hour, because she was scared. And I had to talk with her mom while I was home. And those things break all of our hearts. But it's something we do all the time. You know, sometimes we have a feeling among ourselves that, you know, nobody likes a cop till they need one. And most of us are pretty good people. Most of us have families. We care about people, or we wouldn't do the things we do. I know the lady wants to ask.
Following up on his remark, you said that the county employees got a 2% raise. Was that for like Cunningham and commissioners? I know you didn't get one.
Well, I did get a 2% raise.
You did get 2?
Yes.
Everybody got a raise except the JPs, justices of the peace.
Except the JPs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Don't know why. Because
And who makes these decisions?
Judge Cunningham and her studies.
And something needs to be understood, you know, all county employees, we got a 2% raise. But, there needs to be something known about this, and I understand the compensation needs to be there. But the county attorney gets a $22,500 annual supplement from the state of Texas. The county judge gets a $25,000 supplement from the state government. And no other employees get that. The sheriff doesn't get it. Yes.
Bill, I haven't heard you speak one time about your salary in comparison to these other, and I know you don't like talking about this, and I know you didn't take the position for the salary, but I think that needs to be heard, because most people in here don't know what your responsibility is and how many duties you have to do every day and how you're accountable to this county. So I'd like to hear a comparison about what your salary is in comparison with other sheriffs in this area.
Well, let's see, Barton County Sheriff makes, well, I have to say thank you. He makes about, he makes $82,000 a year, and I make $54,000. Blanco, I don't know what Blanco makes. Gillespie County, he makes about 67. The city of Llano police chief has 8 people. I've got 55. Plus the people that are in the jail, which is, I think today is like 38 people. And the city of Llano police chief makes right at $70,000 a year. He has no dispatch. He has no jail. He doesn't serve civil cases. He has 8 people. I knew this didn't pay a lot. I didn't do it for the reason it paid.
Who is he related to?
No, that's just the way it's with police chief. The police chief from Marble Piles makes around $125,000 a year. One in Horseshoe Bay makes over $100,000. Counties normally don't pay much. But one thing that people need to understand is that this last year, we answered around 12,000 calls for service. And of that call for service, we divide the county into 2 sections, an east and a west section. Highway 16, Fredericksburg to Santana, we call the dividing line. East of there is where I put most of my people. And west of there is where I have 4 people assigned, 2 night men, 2 day men. The rest of mine are assigned east of Highway 16. The reason being is that 86% of my calls are east of Highway 16. 14% of my calls. I figured it up today. During 2015, I had an average of 4 calls a day west of Highway 16 and an average of 29 calls a day east of Highway 16.
That, excuse me, Sheriff, that includes Horseshoe Bay?
No, does not include Horseshoe Bay. Horseshoe Bay has our own police department.
I know, but not in, you said east of the harbor.
It includes Sandy Harbor, Blue Lake, Deer Haven, no, not Sunrise Beach. It includes all the rural areas. It includes Kingsland. It includes McCannon Dam. It includes Towle, Long Grove, and the rural areas around there.
So the 84%, whatever, the number,
86%.
86% is not just Kingsland, like
No.
we've been led to believe in the past.
No, it's not just Kingsland. It's east of Highway 16.
So what you're telling me, the reason I asked you the question is, I think it's important to know, I don't think most people don't understand what your duties are, for sure, and also understand how little you are paid and how little our law enforcement are paid. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we have probably some of the best law enforcement that I've ever seen, period. And we deal with y'all on a regular basis, so I know how you are, how you conduct yourselves daily. So that tells me that Llano County does not think Kingsland is important enough to have proper protection.
Honor. I think
Yes, Your Honor.
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about a lot of things, and if I can, take a little time, I'd like to talk about taxation and what I think are the root causes of some of this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I can. There are 254 counties in the state of Texas. Everybody knows that. The rate of taxation that we have, the millage, or the amount of money per $100 of valuation, is 14th from the bottom. Got it? In other words, there's 240 counties that have a higher rate of taxation than Llano County, unless that's changed in the last year or so. 14th from the bottom. Now, what that means is that all of the property, according to state law, that exists in this county is supposedly taxed at market value. And then we have various exclusions to that, such as homestead exemptions, over 65 exemptions for both the county and the school district. But let's just talk about the county tax thing. Because this county is somewhat divided, each part of the county, a precinct, has an equal number of people living there. It's changed every 10 years. When the census is taken, the precinct lines are adjusted so that everybody, let's say that we had 25,000 people in the county, everybody would have what? Whatever 25 divided by 4 is, okay? The number of people. But that has nothing to do with the valuation of the property within that precinct. Now here comes the conceptual problem that people in Llano County have. We have Horseshoe Bay and the Blue Lake area, that particular precinct over there, which they feel they pay the majority of the taxes. Well, they don't pay the majority of the taxes, but they do pay about 45% of the taxes, and that changes here and now, up and down. The rest of the county pays their proportional amount until we have 100% of the taxes. Now, Kingsland, due to the value of its property, etc. here, does not necessarily pay anywhere near the amount of taxes that Horseshoe Bay does. But they all pay the same rate. And here's the misconception on the part of people. Is if you have a $500,000 home or a $600,000 home sitting on the water over here, you pay the same rate of tax or the same amount of taxation that somebody that lives in Blue Lake that has the equivalent piece of property. Now, we don't have all of these homes that are $500,000 in this area. So proportionally, each of our citizens, on an average, pay less tax. Well, this has been a bone of contention. It's been a bone of contention for years. Now, that some people want to tend to make that divide the county. Okay. The county shouldn't be divided. It would be like me dividing my section from your section right here in town. Or from my neighborhood from your neighborhood. We shouldn't do that. The person who lives in a mobile home pays the same rate of taxation on that mobile home as somebody that lives out there on the water in a $1 million mansion. The same rate as far as the county is concerned. Now the county rate of tax right now is what? 30 cents?
31.
31. Okay, we pay 31 cents per $100 value. Now all of this other taxes that you get on your tax is school tax. Okay, it's not county tax. Again, we're the 14th from the bottom in that rate of taxation. If we believe, nobody likes taxes, but if we believe we're taxed, I would recommend we move to Bayer County, or Travis County, or some other county, where you have all the taxation that can be heaped on it. My own home county, Hidalgo County, The county tax rate is 80 cents, which is the maximum allowed by state law. And what are we again? 30 cents. So we got a good deal. And if we look at our tax statement, we'll find that our county taxes are not the big part of our taxes that we pay on our homes. It's a school tax. Everybody knows that, but sometimes we don't recognize it. Now, laws of the state of Texas say that you can only increase the